So now we will look upon into the judicial powers of the President of India, right? What are his powers related to the third organ of the government or the judiciary? First of all, appointment of the Chief Justice of India, judges of the Supreme Court and the High Court, right? This is just a very formality. Just on the appointment letter of these judges, the sign of the President is required. Otherwise, all the recommendations related to whom to appoint, whom to transfer, whom to get retired, etc. All of this is conducted by the judges themselves, and they have an organization known as the collegium system. And this collegium, we had discussed about the election of the President of India, in that there was an electoral college. Same, there is a collegium of the judges which decides on all the appointments of the judiciary, and these recommendations are binding on the President of India, and he just has to type a letter and sign on it. So this judge is appointed as the Chief Justice of India, etc. Right? But we have to consider it as his judicial powers, because his sign is also necessary to appoint a judge. Right? Second, and one of the most important function of the President is he can seek advice from the Supreme Court anytime he wants, and also in free. This is dealt with in the Article 143 of the Indian Constitution. And according to this Article 143, the President can seek advice from the Supreme Court on any matter which he feels necessary, right? And whatever advice the Supreme Court gives in this matter, it is not binding on the President to accept it, or it is not binding on the government or on the government to accept it, right? But they can from time to time ask for advice from the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is bound to give its advice, legal advice. And generally this advice is asked for matters like if there is a conflict between the central government and the state government, there is a legal battle between them, etc., etc., or there is a certain question which regards the interpretation of Supreme Court related to constitutional matters, etc. All these important legal matters are asked generally by the President and referred to the Supreme Court for their advice, right? But remember, this could be asked in the prelims exam, that it is not binding on the government to accept the advice of the Supreme Court, right? Third is the pardoning power of the President. As I said, clemency powers, we'll discuss it in the further slides in detail, right? But to understand pardoning powers we'll discuss it in detail. Let us go forward right now. Convicted in an office, right? We'll discuss this. So let us move forward for now. Powers and functions. Now let us discuss the diplomatic power of the President. Diplomacy generally deals with the relationship of different countries with each other, and the diplomatic power of the President is all the international treaties, all the discussions or all the decisions between two nations are conducted between India and, like for example, there is a treaty or there is a decision between India and Japan, then it is conducted on behalf of the President of India, because he is the head of our government, right? He represents India, like he goes on foreign tours and he represents our country in various other countries. And third is he receives diplomats, right? All the foreign ambassadors or foreign representative of the country, when they come into India for acting as ambassadors, etc., then they have to provide their credentials to the President of India. Means it is a formal approval by the President of India that we accept the particular ambassador or particular diplomat from a particular country, right? So these were the diplomatic powers of the President of India. Let's move forward. Military powers. President is formally the supreme commander, right? He is the supreme commander of the defense forces, the army, navy, and the air force. All of them, the supreme head is the President, and they finally salute to the President of India. Appointment of chiefs of navy, army, air force, etc. See, again the same concept. Only on the letter of appointment there is the sign of the President of India. Otherwise, whom to appoint, whom not to appoint, all of that is decided by the Union Cabinet, right? There is a particular group in the Union Cabinet known as the Appointments Committee of the Union Cabinet, and they are responsible for deciding names, and they forward these names to the President, and President just has to type a letter and sign on it, and the person is appointed, right? declare war, conclude peace, right? If tomorrow we go to war with Pakistan or China, then the war is generally declared by the President of India because he is the head of state. And if after the war peace is concluded, then the peace is also declared by the President because again he is the head of the state, right? Last powers of the President, last is the emergency powers, right? See, there is a concept of emergency incorporated in the Constitution of India, and emergency powers are dealt with in Article 252 of the Indian Constitution. We will discuss about these powers in detail, but for now it is important for you guys to know that emergency is formally declared by the President of India. These are various types of emergency: national emergency, President's rule in a particular state. We will discuss this in detail. Why? Because it has become a very burning issue and it is a matter of problem between various states and the central government regarding the imposition of President's rule and financial emergency, which has not been ever declared in our country since independence. But these three types of emergencies are formally declared by the President of India, but certainly on the advice of the Prime Minister and the Union Cabinet, right? For now, this much is enough. We will discuss each of this topic in detail in various other chapters, so need not worry. Let us move forward for now. Veto power, right? We will also discuss this in the Union Legislature. See, discretionary powers, right? Till now we have discussed that the President is only a rubber stamp. He does not hold any real power. But in certain situations, certain very special and rare situations, which are not very rare in the Indian form of government, the 1990s decade, right, from 1990 to 2000, these powers were very widely used by the President of India. But in certain rare cases, the President has discretion, means to act on his own conscience or on his own thinking, right? He does not need anyone's advice to have this or to exercise these powers, right? So let us discuss what are the discretionary powers of the President, and these are important for the UPSC prelims point of view and sometimes also in the mains exam. Article 53, right? The executive power of the Union shall be vested in the President and shall either directly or through officers subordinate to him in accordance with this Constitution, right? We had discussed in the very first lecture on the dispute between our first President, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, and the first Prime Minister, Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru, right? That who holds the real power in our polity, right? Who is the real head of state, the President or the Prime Minister? And the main problem or main issue was this very article in the Indian Constitution, or Article 53. See, Article 53 says in simple language that the executive power of the Union shall be vested or shall be exercised by the President of India, by himself or by officers subordinate to him. So Dr. Rajendra Prasad in those times generally thought that it is the President of India who is the real executive chief of the government, and all the officers, be it the Prime Minister, Home Minister, etc., all are subordinate to him and they have to work according to his directions, etc. But in a case like Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru approached the Supreme Court, and in the Ram Javaya Kapoor case, right? Remember the case? It could be either pointed out in various mains answers. In the Ram Javaya Kapoor case, right? It was declared by the Supreme Court of India that this article does not mean that the power of the Union is in the President, but it is a representative form of government and the real power is wielded by the Prime Minister and his cabinet. President is just a nominal head. So Ram Javaya Kapoor case made it very clear to Dr. Rajendra Prasad and to the entire nation that President is just a rubber stamp and just a nominal head of our Indian government, just like the Queen in England, right? So this was regarding Article 53. Second article is very interesting, Article 74, right? There shall be a Council of Ministers with the Prime Minister at the head to aid and advise the President, who shall exercise his functions, right? So in short, what does this article tries to say? That there shall be a Prime Minister, there shall be a Council of Ministers, and they shall be there to act and advise the President regarding the functionary of the government. right? So this also was an issue, that is it necessary for the president to act on the aid and advice of the prime minister and his cabinet? And this was also made clear in the Ram Javaya Kapoor case, that it is essential for the president to act on the aid and advice of the council of ministers headed by the prime minister, right? And in the 24th amendment of the Indian constitution, this article was amended and it was added that the president has to act in accordance with such advice, right? The judgment which was given in Ram Javaya Kapoor by the Supreme Court of India, the government under Indira Gandhi, by the 24th Amendment Act, they changed this particular article which was a cause of dispute between the president and the prime minister, and she added very clearly into the Indian constitution that the president has to act in accordance with such advice which is tendered by the prime minister, right? And further, in the 44th Amendment Act, right? 44th Amendment Act of the Indian Constitution, it was a further line was added that if the president feels the decision of the Council of Ministers is not up to the mark or it is wrong, then he can ask the Council of Ministers to reconsider such advice. But if the Council of Ministers send the president the advice back again, the same advice, then it is binding on the president. President shall act in accordance with the advice re-tendered, right? So, the power which president has, the discretion which he has in this article is that he can send an advice by his own thinking again to the cabinet, and the cabinet has to again reconsider their particular advice. So, and the third, Article 75, right? This forms one of the most important discretionary powers. Let me give you an example. We will not get into these fancy words. Article 75 generally says that the Prime Minister will be appointed by the President of India, right? You must have seen the oath-taking ceremony of many Prime Ministers, particularly of the current Prime Minister. And you have seen that the President is the one who administers the oath to the Prime Minister. So, according to Article 75 of the Constitution, it is the Prime Minister is appointed by the President of India. So, let me give you an example. In 2024 elections, no party, be it BJP, be it Congress, be it NCP, etc., no party has a clear majority or has a minimum number of seats required to form a government. Then who will be the Prime Minister of India? In these cases, the President can act in his discretion, right? If he appoints a person X as the Prime Minister of India on his discretion when there is no clear majority in the parliament elections, then it is the responsibility of this X, who is the PM, to prove his majority in the parliament, right? That he has the support of majority of the members of parliament to run the government. We will discuss these various majorities which are required to run the government in the future lectures on union legislature. But generally a simple majority like 50% of people in the Indian parliament or less than that in practical purposes are needed to function the government properly. And so in this situation, when there is no clear-cut majority, it is on the discretion of the president to appoint someone as the prime minister. And look guys, the president is not someone stupid, right? He does not appoint any person as the prime minister of India. He has to take many things into consideration. There are many informal meetings also between various parties, between the president, etc. And they all by consensus decide, and it is generally communicated to the president, communicated to him, that these party will have support of etc. etc. And only after due consideration, the president appoints someone as the prime minister. But this generally, for theoretical purposes, is considered as a discretionary power, that when there is a hung assembly or there is no clear-cut majority in the elections, then president can appoint anyone as the prime minister of India, right? And the last thing is, any minister has to hold office during the pleasure of the president, right? So this also is a very formal power. Here instead of president we can practically write the prime minister, right? See, the prime minister has to resign only when he has lost his numbers in the house, right? When he has lost the majority support in the house. But any minister in the cabinet, be it the home minister, be it the finance minister, all hold office in the pleasure of the president, or by the pleasure of the president means by the pleasure of the prime minister. If prime minister is not happy with the functioning of the current home minister, then he can advise the president to remove the home minister from the council of ministry, and the president has to do in accordance to the advice tendered by the prime minister. So in short, these were all the discretionary, so-called discretionary powers of the President of India, and these are important regarding the exams, and this could be asked particularly for those people who are going to appear in 2023-24. Elections are going to come, and if a situation comes that there is a hung assembly or there is no clear-cut majority, then the Prime Minister will be appointed using this discretionary power of the President of India.